Thank you. Next is the approval of the agenda. Are there any additions or corrections as far as the agenda goes before we proceed? All right. Seeing, well, as soon as I get down to number 4, I think we want to allow Mr. McCormick to discuss the referendum. I think that's why a lot of folks are here. How we got to this point to consider a referendum, and maybe provide some information that might ease some concerns and maybe change the direction of some of the comments. So I guess to that extent, we're going to amend the agenda and let Mr. McCormick take the floor and present about the referendum.
All right, first I want to welcome everyone tonight. Whether you're here for or opposed, I appreciate you being here as part of the process. Very proud of this. Mrs. Dickerson took our curriculum team last year through a process, Post-it notes all over the walls, etc. And very proud of where we landed here. And the board went on, took this, our board of trustees, to establish our core beliefs for our district. Excellence at Blue River Valley. This is probably, I was forwarded Facebook posts today and this and that. This is we need to be sure we're square here before we move forward. What is it that Blue River Valley's board members, superintendent, teachers, community members, what is excellence? Where do we want to head from here? We're tasked with implementing a top-notch curricular program, maintain productive facilities and grounds, develop and nurture extracurricular programs for our kids to take part in, oversee a safe campus. Can't even count the number of pieces of equipment that we have to purchase, maintain, etc. across the district. And manage our district's finances per state statutes, legislative guidelines, while also planning for the future. While also securing funding to take care of our staff at Blue River Valley. A little background. Around 2010, Indiana's governor and government passed into law tax caps. How many of you in here have heard of the circuit breaker or tax caps? All right. Although beneficial to taxpayers, I understand that, it was devastating to public schools. We lost over $400,000, probably closer to $500,000 in 2023. Blue River Valley. Since 2010, our state government has said plainly that if you want more tax revenue for construction, operations, or safety concerns, you take it to the local polls and you ask your people. And that's what we're doing. We are doing what our state government has directed us to do. I won't get too deep into this tonight, not the time or place. But in April of last spring, our budget cycle in the legislative session, our state legislators, the supermajority, this isn't my opinion, this is a fact, go fact check me. At midnight of the last night of the legislative session, they took $500 million away from the Blue River Valleys and the public schools across the state and gave it to charter schools and vouchers. It's a fact. Just think what Blue River Valley, Cowan, schools across the state could have done with $500 million. There are two ways to raise additional money in public schools. You either increase your enrollment, or your ADM, stands for your average daily membership, or you run a referendum. That's it. We do have a declining enrollment at Blue River Valley. We are selective about who we allow to transfer into our district. We have increased the expectations and rigor in our district. This is not just a Blue River Valley issue, though. You need to understand that. Again, another fact, of the 290 public school districts across our state, 209 of them, 72%, have had a declining enrollment for the past 5 years. That's a fact. We have 3 pots of money that we pay bills with and do business with. The education fund, you wouldn't necessarily have to read all of this. The highlight is this is our state support. We get anywhere from $6,000 to $7,000 per student that come to our school. It varies from school to school depending on your free and reduced lunch and different dynamics that make up your school, but $6,000 to $7,000. So again, if you lose students, you lose money. If you gain students, you get more money. But that's state funded, that's the basic grant. The debt service fund, this is a local property tax, is what this is funded from. So when you take on a loan, debt, you pay for that from local property taxes. So in recent capital projects here at Blue River Valley, the new tennis courts and district signage were paid for by a 1-year bond in 2022. We took that bond and then paid it off in a year strategically. Our tennis courts had 1 to 2 inch cracks running through them. We had to cancel tennis matches literally, or move them to another school because we couldn't play on our tennis courts. The new elementary bleachers, new high school cafeteria furniture, other refresh across the district were paid for with monies left over from a previous older bond. Same thing with the ag barn. The ag barn, all new shell all the way around it, new electricity all the way through it, which was much needed. That was paid for with previous bond money. The third pot of money, your operations fund. Again, this is funded through your property tax, your local property tax. And you can see my salary comes out of operations fund, whereas the teachers come out of the first pot of money. But you can see if you want to buy a bus, run maintenance, those type of things, you know, this is kind of your working fund for operations. So the fourth option, the fourth pot of money that you can try to create for your school district is through a referendum campaign. This too is local property tax, as I'm sure you're well aware. And as you'll see, for us, it's going to be about salaries, period. There are 3 types of referenda you can run: a construction, safety, and operational. We're running an operational, and it's to pay our teachers and staff more, period. Our current starting pay for a new teacher here is $40,000. You can see where we stack up in Henry and Wayne County. Those are facts. You can go to DLGF, you can go out online, and you can find this information just like I did. There's our athletic conference. Sometimes if you're comparing something, we in here are familiar with Liberty Perry, Cowan, but that's where we stack up with our beginning salary in our athletic conference. All salaries, average annual teacher salaries, you can see the Indiana average and you can see Blue River Valley's average across the state. Again, you can go out and find this information just like I did. Factors to consider, I've mentioned we have a declining enrollment right now at Blue River Valley. I'll point out in a moment that we're trying to reverse that. We're doing things to try to attract students to Blue River Valley. We're not negating that, forgetting that. We are working on that. But it's a challenge for everyone across the state right now. Cash balances, we're not panicked, but they are in a declining state, again, just because of our dynamics here. I told you we lost $460,000 in 2023. That's due to the circuit breaker. What will happen if the referendum is not approved? Well, obviously, teacher compensation will not be as competitive. We will have to make cuts. I cannot stand here tonight and tell you what cuts those will be, just like we do at home. You know, you got to work through things as a team and make decisions. The last bullet on here, I want to be very careful about what I throw out there. But if you're anyone in here paying attention to the legislative session right now, and maybe it's not schools, maybe it's other stuff, our legislators want small public schools to go away. They pretty much say that publicly now. I'm embarrassed for them. But our supermajority has said, I mean, they want the Blue Rivers to go away, but yet they create these small charter schools for another time, another day. But this isn't what we want at all. We will fight tooth and nail. If a referendum is approved, you can see stating the obvious, kind of the counter to the points on the previous slide. We will always continue to explore each year budgeting strategies. You'll see in a few slides we're asking for a 19-cent tax rate increase, but that's the max. If we get into a budget year and say, hey, we can do with 16 cents or 15 cents, we can do that. The 19 cents is just a max that we were asking for. What has been done to this point? Financial consulting. On July 31st, I, the board members, administrative team, Zoanne, we took a whole team to Stiefel in Indianapolis and spent a half a day going through School Finance 101. It was very enlightening, very informative. I know I, as superintendent, you know, every superintendent's different on what they like to share or try to share, but I want our team to know exactly what's going on, financially or otherwise. We're very transparent. If anyone ever, I had 2 phone calls today. I appreciate it when people call and just say, hey Trent, what's this mean? Instead of just jumping on Facebook and starting to jump to all these conclusions, and I've heard our taxes are going to triple, not true. You know, and then it just goes crazy. Just call me. We just finished an LED light project in this building last week that will save us $25,000 a year in energy savings in our electric bill moving forward. So we're trying to be strategic. We decided to sell central office, the old funeral home. I mean, it was a great space, but we had extra space in here. And so we're going to renovate the band room area, work some things around, and bring our central office into this building to where now we have another administrator on campus, and it just makes sense financially as well. Here's the meat and potatoes. You can take a picture of this. You can call me tomorrow and I'll email you this. It's no secret. We asked Stiefel to run 19, 20, 25 cent ask. 25 cents would take us over the $2 mark for our total. We did not want to do that. We felt like 19 cents was where we wanted to land. So in general terms, if you own a $200,000 property, you're going to see an addition of a monthly increase of just under $16, $187, $188 a year would be the impact on you, the increase. This is for residential. This is for businesses. Things of that nature, farm ground. So again, you can see what the impact would be at 19 cents on each of those scenarios of gross assessed value. Anyone have any questions on this, either of these slides? tonight and moving forward, tonight our school board is approving, they're not approving a tax rate tonight. They can't. They're only approving the question and the spending plan that will be put on the ballot in May for the voters to vote on. We will have several informational meetings, trying to hold one a month in February, March, and April. Be similar to this. There'll probably be a little more in-depth and maybe more of an atmosphere of questions you could ask, but that'll happen. We'll have a tax calculator on our website, as well as an FAQ document on our website. So this is what we're thinking with our informational meetings. We just haven't gotten to the point of finalizing dates, but we will. We do want the public to be educated on what they're voting on, what they're considering. I get it, no one wants to pay more taxes, me included. But at the end of the day, what are we paying for? Is it just going out for dinner? Is it your local school? Is it fill in the blank? That's what we're asking the voters to consider. And I've told people, it's not Mr. McCormick versus the taxpayers. It's not the board versus the taxpayers. The taxpayers will speak at the poll, and then whatever they decide, we'll move forward accordingly. No hard feelings either way, but we do want people to be informed as they make their decision. There's my email. That's our central office phone number. Does anyone have any questions at all? Yes, sir.
Do you live in Universal School District?
I do not. I live on the north side of Newcastle. My taxes go to, I guess, Newcastle Schools is the school district I live in.
So is this the time we speak, or are we just asking questions?
No, you can speak here shortly, but if you have any
Okay,
questions,
okay.
yes.
No.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Madison. You caught me with a double question.
I will add just a couple of things, and then I have a couple statements from the board members that were absent, and then I'll let Ms. Bryant and Ms. Brown say anything they would like to say. We're all going to be voting a tax increase potentially on ourselves, or at least taking that to the polls. So we all do live in the district, obviously, and we have to be on the board. We've studied this quite a bit and think it's the right thing to do. It's not fun. You know, a couple of things that I've seen are, you know, that we already have the highest tax rate. We do. I think the explanation for that lies in the fact, if you look around our district and you look at the tax rates, you know, residential is 1%, so that's your home and 1 acre. The excess residential or ag is capped at 2%. Commercial's at 3%. That doesn't sound like a big difference, but if you look around our district, we don't have a lot of commercial or industrial development to get that top rate. So when you have to raise a certain pot of money, the rate has to be higher to generate that sum of money. So that's part of the reason the rate, we are the highest in the county. On the education fund side of things, I looked at this last night. This is from the state legislature. We were given a 4.1% increase in fiscal year 2024 and a 1.4% increase per student in fiscal year 2025. And that's fairly consistent. South Henry, just as an example, they got 5.6% in 2024, and they only got 0.3% in 2025. Now, I bring that up because we all know what inflation has done over the last few years. 2.75% per year doesn't cover inflation. So out of that education fund, we can't, in the economist term, we can't purchase the same basket of goods we could 2 years ago because they cost more and we don't have that revenue. So to create the kind of educational environment that we want to attract the teachers, another example I'll give you, we have 3 student teachers here at Blue River right now that graduated from Blue River, okay? Full disclosure, one of them is my daughter. If my daughter has an offer from Blue River at 40 and from Daleville at 49, Dad will tell her to go to Daleville. All else equal, I would have to. We can't compete and get the best and the brightest unless we're more competitive. We're not going to jump to 49 right out of the gate. We can't. But those are just things we have to think about. It's not hard. It's economics. And you know, people have said, well, you need to cut programs. What do you think happens when we cut programs? Students go elsewhere. So we're all trying to walk that balance and do the best we can. And so I just hope that you'll take us at our word. We're trying to do the best we can. We don't want to raise taxes, but we think that may be the best option to continue to create an excellent educational environment for our students. So with that, let me read Ashley Beavers, board member. She says, my apologies for not being in attendance this evening. As a community member, alumni, and mother of 2 current students, I take great pride in the presentation of our school and the quality of our teachers. As a school board member, I have spent countless hours educating myself to the financial struggles of all school districts, learning the impacts an operating referendum would have on our community, and deliberating our options moving forward. I do not and have not taken lightly the decision we as a board have come upon. I fully support moving forward with placing the operating referendum tax question on the May 2024 election ballot. Our teachers, staff, and students deserve a portion back of what the state legislation has taken away over time. I encourage the community to take the time to learn about the process, ask questions to individuals educated in the matter, attend community presentations, and to understand the leaders of our school always have our children's best interest in mind. And let me pull up Mr. Kuntz. This is from Brian Kuntz, one of the other members that couldn't be here. It says, while I share many of the concerns as others, I wholeheartedly support a referendum for increased teacher and staff pay. I disagree with the concept of taxing property on principle, but unfortunately that is the only method of financing that the state gives us. Property tax caps have hit BRV harder than the vast majority of schools across the state, and at this point, the only alternatives available to make BRV pay and programs competitive and effective is a referendum. The school board can't impose a referendum on the taxpayer. All we can do is place it on the ballot for the electorate to consider. A direct referendum is the purest form of democracy we have. Instead of an elected representative making a decision to be imposed upon others, the voters directly participate. In May, the voters of Blue River and Prairie Township will decide the issue. I will be voting for the referendum. So those are the comments from Ashley and Brian, and open the floor if Ms. Shinkarla would like to say anything.
I just want everyone here to know that this was not taken lightly. We know that some of you are saying that this is a surprise, but we have tried everything that we can to save money and keep the good staff here. We are very fortunate that we have teachers that are willing to stay here for what they're making. I mean, when you look at that, it makes me sick to think that the quality of education we have here, and we're not treating them how they deserve to be treated. We did not just last night say, hey, let's do this, let's see if we can't stir up trouble. No, this has been an ongoing thing for at least 6 to 8 months. And I think even if after the beginning of the year, last year, there was talk that it might have to go this direction. And I am not kidding. You guys don't even know the hours that we meet and we talk and we try to find every way possible to keep it from affecting you. I wholeheartedly support this. It does affect me just like it affects everyone that's here, and I totally understand that. But I have grandkids going through here, and I want them to stay here. You know, if you are a Blue River grad, you kind of feel it deep, and you don't want to see that consolidation. And I just, please, please, please ask questions, okay? Mr. McCormick has been transparent through this whole thing. So, and Mrs. Riley, you will have the information, just ask, okay? Because sometimes we don't know what you guys want to know until you ask it, okay? So please, please, please ask the questions.
I'm Carla Bryant, and I am grateful to have the opportunity to comment and listen to our community members this evening. Your opinions are highly respected, and your attendance here tonight demonstrates your desire to learn how and why we have come to this point. After many, many hours of learning the intricacies, the realities of school funding, school finance, and projections for our future, I believe an operational referendum is appropriate and necessary to put on the ballot for May 2024. Our goal is clear. BRV needs to retain and attract teachers and staff that are exceptional. Our kids deserve excellence and continuity. I understand the need. I also understand, as a taxpayer myself, what this means. This is an enormous decision, and I truly appreciate that you've come here tonight. Thanks.
All right, thank you. With that, we'll go ahead and turn it over to patrons' comments and get the list over here. Is there anybody that wants to speak that didn't indicate so on this list? All right, before we get started, I'm going to kind of just briefly highlight our public comment policy. So each person will be given up to 3 minutes to speak. I'll ask Ms. Bryant, if you've got your cell phone, if you can run the timer. She'll indicate when you have 1 minute left. You don't have to use the whole 3 minutes if you don't want to, but you're welcome to say whatever you would like to say. Our policy indicates that time for public comment will not exceed 30 minutes based on the number of people that have signed up. I don't think that'll be an issue. I'll try to be a little flexible if it is. If additional people want to speak, we want to try to be as open as we can. Let's see here. So if you've not done this before, we may or may not answer direct questions. Some things we may not know. May need to take that under advisement and get back with you later. You should address the entire board, not necessarily one board member specifically. We will not tolerate any comments that would be threatening, harassing, illegal, obscene, or defamatory. Hopefully you don't have any issues with that tonight. And we will take any reasonable steps necessary to maintain order, including removal of someone that's willfully disruptive. But again, we don't have any issues with that. So, with that, that's our general policy that is published on our website. If you have any questions about that. And we'll go ahead and get started. Is it David Earledge? You wish to speak?
My name is David Earledge. I've got 2 kids that go to Blue River. When we started out at Blue River, I'll just say that we chose to come to Blue River. We were in Shenandoah School District. The school actually, Shenandoah picked up in our driveway. We drove to bring our kids here because of the staff. They were too young to be in sports, but we chose to come here because of the staff. Looking at the numbers that Trent put together, stop and think about it. So even at the highest number he had on there, $500,000. It was about $50 a month, just shy of what it would cost you extra. Most people spend more than that in 2 days stopping to get coffee. That is an extra for your household. And we're wanting to take that away from paying our teachers what they're worth. I'm going to try and get through this part without being emotional. We had a very unique situation in our household last year. I became a grandfather from a 15-year-old son. The staff here had meetings over that prior to even getting close to delivery. They made arrangements. They brought my son, and I won't give the name of the mother, but into the school Set them down, talked to them, made sure that they were emotionally taken care of, made arrangements at the school that if she was to pump, that she had places to do so that she could feed the child. This school is exceptional. It goes above and beyond. It's more than just a place for education, but it's more of a family atmosphere. And they have taken care of my family just beyond belief. And if we can't give up, even if we're at the max, if you have a $500,000 house and you can afford $50 a month, in my honest opinion, you're living out of your means. And you should reevaluate what you're willing to spend. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Next, I have Greg Kissick.
So this tax thing, money, yeah, it sucks. Like, but the money you want, I went here in '83, it was 83 days. We did fine. Everybody did fine. Now, since that time, you added new parts. Taxes went up normal, just like the foods. You still have all the shop classes. Are they all gone? I like going down there, the drafting, welding, the mechanic classes. I'm not a very smart with history and everything. I can figure out anything. You can't find any young kids today, anywhere. It's lucky if they can really take pictures. Is this all gone? You don't have to answer.
No, I mean, I'm happy to answer that. It's fairly common knowledge. So yes, essentially the old shop classes on site here at Blue River are no more. Through the partnership with the Newcastle Career Center, those kids have opportunities to go in there and learn trades and skills, welding, property management, those types of things. But that's through a partnership with the Career Center. We do offer some of those type things, and Ms. Chernowski, I don't want to put her on the spot, but some of those things through FFA and some of those other things, mechanic, small engine type things. So we do try to offer a broad range of services to all different types of kids. You know, it's not all about, you know, making sure we can offer the highest level of mathematics. It's about, you know, whatever a kid wants to do, whether that's directly here on campus, whether that's online learning, whether that's going to the Career Center. We try to offer those opportunities.
And you offer more shop classes. Here.
All right. Next speaker I have is Terry Bales.
Whenever I found out that we were going to go down this path, I expected it to be a hot topic. And the reason why that I wanted to speak today is because of some of the information that I found out about on social media. So this is a very personal decision. I appreciate Mr. Earledge a lot about what he had to say. I'm not here to say what you should do or shouldn't do. I think that's all a decision that each individual has to make. It is your personal finance. You are the ones that are going to be making those decisions, and you're going to have that opportunity in May. What I ask you to do, however, is to make a knowledgeable decision. You know, make sure that the information that you're getting is accurate. Because, you know, basically what I saw last night was kind of partial truths on the things that I know. I heard Mr. McCormick stand before you and say, if you have any questions, call me. I mean, if you see something and you think, hey, you know, that's not right, you spent money on something that you could have done something else with, you know, I'm asking you to reach out. Be knowledgeable in the decision that you make. Because I happen to know that whenever you work to become a superintendent, there is a class you got to take on school finance. Because there are rules behind what you can spend money on and where, and that's whatever he was showing the different slides. So whatever decision you have to make, I certainly respect it. I just want it to be the best, most intelligent decision that you can make for the community. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker I have is Lindy Fletcher.
Hi. I guess can I start off with a question? Like, so enrollment, can you up your enrollment. Is that possible to do so?
Sure.
Or not?
We have to have the programs and things to attract kids. We do run a bus to Aldi to pick up kids from Newcastle.
No, I mean, like, can you charge more for the enrollment fee, for book fees, nothing like that?
That's the state of
You're unable to
Indiana,
do
so
that?
that's, the citations right here, the percentages that I gave, that's set by the state legislature on the education fund per student. They tell us what they're gonna pay us per student.
Because, okay, is there an opportunity, just like this gentleman buses his kids in here, is there an opportunity to raise his because he's from out of district? No.
We're in
Because
district now, but we. did both.
My brother is out of district, and my brother's not, he brings his kids here, because we think Blue River's a great school. My son went here, it's an awesome school, we love it, but I'm gonna be paying taxes for his kids to go here.
Right.
And it's like, why am I being, and my kid don't even go here anymore, and he's not even gonna have to pay the extra money, which I don't feel is quite right. But if you're saying that there's nothing that can be done about that, correct?
Correct. That's all state legislature driven. So you got the education fund, and you know the term, money follows the child. So wherever the child goes, that's where that payment goes. But the property taxes are the property taxes in the district. So you're right, you're gonna be subsidizing kids that don't live in the district. Now, I guess the good news is that we import more students than we export, if that makes sense. So we bring in more kids from other districts than we lose to other districts at this point. The biggest challenge we have, a lot of small schools have, is just the pure demographics. I mean, if you drive through Greenfield and Pendleton, you can kind of feel population going that direction. That growth will come this way, but how quick, I don't know. But that's the challenge we have, is we just have less people living in the district as, you know, farms have gotten bigger, houses have been torn down, and it's a lot of ag, and that's a wonderful thing. But we just don't have the numbers that we did at one point.
And at the beginning of your speech, you said that you're kind of particular who you let in, is that correct?
Yes.
Like what do you
Based
mean?
on,
What do
based
you-
on discipline. Of our 600, well, 577, I say 600, but 577, 25% of our students are transfer students from outside of our district. So they apply to come here. And we are given the leeway, the leeway by the state. If we can turn someone away from going here if they have, you know, a poor discipline record, those type of things that would be undesirable, what we expect here. That's not hundreds, or that's not 50s of kids.
Yeah.
but-
And also, like, another question is, how many board members do we have to have?
Well, the way it's set up now is we have 5. Some schools have 7, some, I don't know if anybody has 9.
So so you're not all board members, the names?
Mr. McCormick is the superintendent. I'm a board member. I don't know, is this Brian? Brian Kuntz is
Okay, so
absent.
we have 5, you say?
yeah.
How many do you have to have?
The way it's
to
set up now,
run
we
the
have to have
school.
5. There's 5 positions. And we're on the ballot just like everybody else.
Yeah.
We're nonpartisan.
I know,
That's right.
I voted for, you know, I know who I voted for in here.
Right.
But I mean, we got 2 missing. We got 2 missing tonight. And I think this is kind of an important meeting. And maybe we should get rid of 2 board members. I'm not trying to be mean, I'm not trying to be nasty, but you're taking from my pocket, and I want Blue River to stay small. But we do pay your wages, or what you do, I know it's not much, but why aren't they here? Maybe we should get rid of a couple. When you wanna start making cuts, start making it here, you know? Because they should have been here tonight. When you're talking, you're gonna charge me $400 extra a year. Or $390, or whatever I seen on Facebook. Maybe we should get in their pockets.
Well, in their defense, they have jobs too, ma'am, and their work comes up. You know, I guarantee, well, I know they're not sitting at home, they have lives as well.
Well, I feel like everybody's hurting right now. I mean, I think everybody's feeling it. And it just stinks that people just keeps on getting in our pockets. You know, it's just, and I want Blue River to stay small. And that was the best part about sending my son here because it was a small community and I loved it. But it's getting tiresome. And it's not just Blue River getting in our pockets, it's the government. The government's just, you can't even go to the grocery store without spending $200. You know, and I feel like we're kind of fortunate where there's some that's not, where $400 extra a year paying in taxes could be a lot. And that's just,
Well, Trent said he wouldn't get political. I guess I will a little bit. The state legislature is sitting on approximately a $3 billion surplus. So that's money they've already taken out of our pockets that they're sitting on. And then they're leaving it to us to come before you and say, we'd like to have more money to do what we need to do. Now, I'm not in favor of getting rid of the surplus in its entirety, but that feels a little excessive to me. I know it has some, you know, good things with getting bond rates and borrowing money and all that. I understand that. But I'm a little troubled that after, you know, the state wants to support vouchers and charters, which don't apply to Blue River, but take money out of the entire bucket that we can't get. They want to do that and then sit on a $3 billion surplus. So, you know, we're the ones left to take the arrows, and that's okay. It's what, I mean, I'm not gonna say we signed up for it, we weren't hoping for that, but we have to make the tough decisions. But you need to be thinking about your state legislature and see what they're up to, depending on how you want education funded and what they're already taking out of your pocket and where it's going. I'm ready to shut up. That's all I have signed up, and I'm trying to be as free and easy as we can tonight. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak?
I have a question. Now, Mr. McCormick said that a lot of the school systems enrollments are dropping. Where are they going? If we're all dropping around, where are they going? Are they all homeschooled now?
Very, very good question. And many people, there probably isn't, I would say twice, your name, ma'am?
Cynthia May.
Mrs. May? I probably have this discussion twice a month with people all over the state. Where are they going? It's difficult to answer for a lot of people. You know, here, obviously, the Rust Belt cities, when the factories close down, you know, when population leaves, that takes the students as well. A lot of people are migrating to the bigger cities for work, etc. Indiana is one of, if not the #1 state for school choice. And you probably see that when hear it when you're brushing your teeth in the morning about this charter school or this virtual school. Some people homeschool. I'm being very sincere when I say you ask a very good question. And it's probably just due to decline, the shift of population to big cities, and there is just kind of a transient population. We have kids every week that transfer in and out of Blue River for a variety of reasons. But it does have a lot of people scratching their head across the state.
So there's no cut and dry, really.
There's not. I wish I had a better answer for you, Mrs. May, but it's.
I understand
Yeah.
the coming and goings. My daughter teaches at Muncie School System,
Yeah.
and she has a new kid every 2 weeks.
So you understand.
Yeah, and I can understand too about, like Greg said, you know, he doesn't want, none of us want more money. And myself, most everybody here, we farm, Greg does too, and when you pay $10,000 a year already in property tax, you're going to get smacked with another $1,000 to $2,000 a year. It's just kind of like somebody's sticking it to you. But I do agree that the teachers are worth it. I really do. I mean, you offered my daughter a job, but she couldn't come because you couldn't match her pay that she was getting at Muncie. And it's unfortunate that you guys can't compete. Plain and simple. But, you know, I wish the best for Blue River School. I had 3 of my own kids go through, and my husband went here. And, you do have top-notch teachers here that really care about the students. Just, I'll be one of the parents too that say, I think you spend some money places you should. It's like, you got a pretty office coming in here. What was wrong with the old one?
Well, we would have had to remodel the old one, and we were able to sell that real estate and make a couple $100,000, so.
No, I mean in here.
Well,
Inside
the
here.
superintendent's office, well, we had to make a secure entrance for safety purposes, that was part of, if you're talking about the office up here, that was to make it a secure entrance for safety, so that people had to properly buzz in and buzz out, all that, and that's just, that's another kind of hidden cost that schools are having to absorb, just because of, 20 years ago, we didn't worry about this.
Well,
But now we
I worked
do.
for Blue River too, and I had a fob that I had to buzz in and out too, so, I mean, I understand that.
Right.
but
Yeah, I mean, and people can, if you're not.
You can nitpick it to death.
Right, people can pick it to death and say you should cut this program or you shouldn't have spent the money there. I totally understand that, and we've got broad shoulders and we've got to just roll with it and do the best we can. But we've got to try to put the best product out there we can, and that's what we're attempting to do, and that's why we're at least going to put it to the voters to see if they're willing to help us make our teachers competitive.
Okay, I just want to say something real quick. To me, school money is not like our home money. You get a paycheck, it goes into your account, and you can spend it however you want. I can spend it to pay to have my yard mowed. I can spend it to get groceries. I can do this. And until we really got down to the nuts and bolts, you would be surprised at what things can and cannot be paid with. So that is where we looked at the things, because, you see that this is paid out of here. Well, we can't move that money. Our hands are tied so tight that we can't do anything. And so that is one of the reasons that this is for teacher salaries. We can't get the money from a grant. We can't get the money from a bond, because those are not stable. So I want a teacher to come in and say, hey, we got this grant, so this year I can pay you $50,000. But if we don't get that grant next year, guess what? You're going to 40. No one's gonna stay then. And so when Mr. McCormick showed you those different funds, they're a lot deeper than what he put up there. So I just want you guys to know that it's not just one of those things to where, oh, we get the check from the state and we can go do all these things. We can't. The legislators and the state have told us, and Mrs. Riley, exactly where that money goes and how much she can spend. And we know that she has a budget meeting. So she plans all these things out. She goes to the budget meeting, they're like, nope, cut $400,000 and I don't care where it comes from. So like I said before, this is not something that we just decided willy-nilly. We have really, really, really done some research. So we were hoping we would never have to come to this. So, but we are reaching out to you guys, and like Mr. McCormick said, it's up to you guys. If you guys vote no in May, then we come back and we plan again. That's our job. And we will do it, and we will do it with teachers and staff and students in mind and getting them the best they can from here with what we have. So I totally, totally, totally understand, because it's gonna hit my pocketbook too. I really do. So, but I just want you guys to understand, it's not like a home checkbook, that it doesn't just come in and we can just write a check and pay a bill when it comes in. Your electric is paid differently from your buses, and so things are just so totally different. So I just wanted to make that known. Thank you, sorry.
No, that's fine. All right, anything else before we move on? Like I said, I want to try to be as transparent and can.
Thank you, John.
Yeah.
Vicki Bartle. I'm a financial controller myself, so I get all this. I've been, doing accounting work for 36 years, so, and working for a nonprofit for most of my career. I very well understand the budgeting process, trying to make up where you have shortfalls. Now, when you get this money in, when Trent was showing those different slides, the teacher's money was over here in this one fund. Can this referendum money jump over to this fund? Because there was different buckets.
Yeah, no, to your question, yes, we are running, and it's in the documents, in paperwork. We're running what's called, it's a little confusing. There's the operation fund bucket. We're running an operational referendum. I wish they wouldn't call them operational. They're really not the same thing, but for this, our paperwork, our process says we are running an operational referendum to pay teachers and staff more money. At 19 cents, it will bring us in a projected $360,000. Again, at 19 cents, we project, it'll depend some on what assessed values are, but we're told it'll bring us in about $360,000. I'm glad you brought this up. We don't get that immediately. I mean, we're already going to have to cinch the belt up for next school year. If you win a referendum, if the voters say, yes, we'll support this, you don't get the monies till the following year. So it'll be June of 2025 before we receive that additional tax levy. But yes, we can, that money will go into the silo or bucket to pay teachers and staff.
And that's all it can be used for, is for pay for teachers and staff. So even, again, back to Misha's point of being restricted, I think I want that restricted. If I come to you guys and say that's what we're gonna use it for, that's what we're gonna use it for. It's gonna go to salaries.
Absolutely.
So how much is that per employee, per teacher? Like, do you know, have you done the math on that?
We
Do you
haven't
know?
gotten that far because you start getting in, it's not as easy as a simple division. You have benefits and insurance and other things that have to be factored in. So we have not got that far yet.
Anything else from anyone? Like I said, they always tell you not to open the floor like that, but it's been a good discussion. And anything else? All right, if not, we'll close the public comment section and move down to new business. We have the architectural contract with Gibraltar. And this is for the improvements. And these would come out of bond proceeds. We're going to talk about money a lot tonight. So these are for bonds that essentially have already been taken. That's where these monies will come from. And this is for primarily the remodel to get the superintendent's office and staff together. This is for Gibraltar for the architectural work on that project. So to the board, any questions or comments on the contract with Gibraltar? Is there a motion to approve the contract?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All right. All those in favor of approving the contract with Gibraltar for the architectural work signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So that contract will stand approved. And then we have a construction management contract with Skillman, who will work with Gibraltar, and they will be our advocates to make sure that timelines are followed, budgets are followed, keep an eye on the overall project. So we have that contract with Skillman to work in tandem with Gibraltar. Any questions on that contract from the board?
No.
Is there a motion to approve that contract?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the construction owner contract with Skillman Corporation.
All right, motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Any other discussion or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the contract with Skillman for the construction management work signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Congratulations.
Thank you.
Do you have anything you want to mention?
No, I understand you know, everybody's talking about money tonight, and, you know, Skillman Corporation, we've been in business 52 years. We have a variety of clients, and this one for me is very personal. We've been working with Trent the better part of about 8 months now. And we've been watching the budget, we've been having a lot of conversations, and we're just looking forward to making an improvement in your district. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
All right, thank you. Next on the agenda is approve the early literacy grant payouts. So I got the resolution, I won't read it word for word, but literacy grant funds have been issued to public school corporations, and supplemental guidance issued by the Indiana Department of Education required eligible teachers receiving payments through the literacy grant be paid supplemental payment stipends for school years beginning after June 30th, 2022. The corporation may provide a supplemental payment to a teacher in excess of the salary specified in the corporation's compensation plan. And then it says Board of Trustees desires to pay a supplemental payment stipend as authorized by the resolution and as required by the Indiana Department of Education. Now therefore, the board adopts this resolution, which approves the following. Superintendent of Schools is authorized to pay supplemental payment stipends through the literacy grant to the following teachers in the following amounts. Katrina Rains, $190.70. All these amounts are the same. I'm going to skip those. Samantha Nafziger, Melissa Hook, Lacey Eisen, Lisa Sherritt, Robin Gregory, Amy Allen, Missy Burns, Jamie Jaggers, and Cindy Becker, all $190.70. One-time supplemental payments not be added to the base salary of any teacher receiving such a stipend, and superintendent is instructed to distribute those in accordance with requirements established by the Department of Education.
Mrs. Dickerson.
Sure.
Mrs. Dickerson, I'll put you on the spot. He just explained all this legalese. Do you want to give the community version that I can understand and everyone
Yeah.
of what this was and what it is?
It's not that bad, is it? Come on.
My name is Lori Dickerson. If you don't know me, I'm the assistant superintendent here. My main responsibilities are curriculum, professional development, and career readiness. So that's what I spend a lot of time on. Our iRead scores are actually a positive. If you're following anything in legislation, iRead will be a hot topic this year, student literacy rates. So if you haven't caught that yet, you'll start hearing about it. Those of you that have young kids, remember in iRead when we forced kids to, when it first came out, kids were forced to be retained in 3rd grade. And some schools have had flexibility to move away from that. I would tell you in a positive, our scores are in the 70%, which isn't 100% where we want. Of course, we want every kid to go through 3rd grade and read. However, what I would tell you is every single kid that went to Blue River that did not have an individualized education plan, so a special education plan, every kid at Blue River passed last year. You probably won't see that in the newspaper, but that is something that wasn't happening at Blue River and has been happening now. It's happened that last year was the first year that's happened, and so that goes to, in 2019, we started pushing science of reading. I was elementary principal at the time, and we started pushing what's called science of reading. It's a basics of phonics and scientific approach. We are ahead the game. If you go out and go to others, you'll see that Blue River, there's this thing called a rope. You can ask my teachers all about it. We talk about it weekly, monthly. We just had a PD on it last week. But you'll see that information. So why this grant came out is because of iRead scores, each school was given a set amount of money to give 2 teachers that taught K-3. And so we looked at who actually taught our last year's 3rd graders, because that's what the money was about, from the time they became kindergartners, which, by the way, those were your kindergarten COVID kids, if you keep track there. So whoever had them from the time they were in kindergarten until they took that test, because we believe all of our foundational literacy teachers are important to that 3rd grade iRead. So that's what that money's for. That's kind of probably more than what you wanted to know, but we don't always get an audience to talk about like geeky curriculum things. So you can call me anytime. I'll tell you anything you want to know about curriculum. So anyways, there you go. But that's what that money is for. And so I say that with pure pride. Our teachers are working really hard, and we put a lot of ask on them in COVID, and not one elementary teacher has balked the idea of wanting to be a better reading teacher. In fact, every single one of our early childhood teachers right now are doing homework and taking tests on their own time. science and reading. I'm also the IDOE. And so they're leaving hours working on that to continue to better reading teachers. They don't accept that. This is how we all want to introduce. So super proud of all of them. Talk to you later about it. Talk to you later about it.
All right, thank you. So is there a motion to regard to paying the next items?
I might make a motion that
Motion second, anything else you want to vote? If not, all in favor of approving the resolution to take the next items to another state teacher grants, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Okay, next is the referendum to act on the resolution. That's in the back packets by law here this evening. Essentially it says that we made a determination that we need to put the referendum on the ballot to fulfill our education community. So here is all the current referendum calculations in years 2025 and moving 2022. So that's right. This is for 8 years. We have to have it. So it's the tax 2025, 2022. The tax levy, the tax we pay, the up to $19,100 assessment for those years. And we do not, significant citizens, do not intend to pay any revenues to the charter. Then the question, which is poorly worded, the system for education. Questions about the Shelter Valley School Corporation increased property tax payments by homeowners and businesses, ratepayers, holding a referendum for the purpose of funding the intention and attraction of teachers or staff, academic delay, program operating expenses. Some legislation is moved by voters. The average property tax payments per year residents increased by 30.74%. The average property tax payments per year property increased by 24.17%. Now, if you think about that, not being tax is going to go up by 30%. That means that what maybe you recommend to the school will increase by that. That's an expectation for the government. So we're authorizing the superintendent, business manager, treasurer to take actions regarding this resolution. And we need power to things on your documents. Any questions from the board on the tax resolution? Motion is approved. Motion is second. Any else before we vote? If not, all those in favor of approving the referendum tax resolution, signify by saying aye. Signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Next is the revenue plan. So this is a state board referendum question already read. The estimate of the annual revenue is expected to be like the referendum levy is $350,000, $359,500. Funding the retention and attraction of teachers and staff, and the entire amount is in that line there, which is retention and attraction of teachers and staff. Academic-related programs is zero, and operational expenses is zero. So that's the commitment that we're making, that's what that money's going to go to. So is there a motion to approve the proposed revenue spending plan?
I make a motion that we approve the proposed revenue spending plan.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I do want to say something real quick. When Mr. McCormick showed you guys what we were going to lose for the 2023 year, even asking the 19 cents, we don't come anywhere near that. So I know there's been a question out there about how we chose 19 cents. That has been a long process too. So we have gone through several different methods to figure out which one of these would best help us, but not totally destroy you. So like I said, even asking the 19 cents, we are not getting what we're losing.
All right, thank you. Next, and our final item on the agenda is the approval of the library board appointee. So we are entitled to appoint one member to our local library board. Terry Matney has been serving in that role and has expressed an interest in continuing to serve and does a great job on that board. So is there a motion to reappoint Terry Matney to the Newcastle Henry County Public Library Board on behalf of Blue River Schools?
I make a motion that we reappoint Mr. Matney to the library board.
I second.
Motion and a second. Anything else before we vote? All those in favor of Terry serving on the library board again, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Any other items we need to address before we adjourn?
I just want to again thank everyone for taking part in the process. We can have civil discussions and we can disagree. I had a phone conversation today that I appreciated. The gal called and one thing we agreed on, one thing we disagreed on, but we had a lovely conversation and hung up just fine. So in all seriousness, call me. Set up an appointment to come in my office, email me if you have questions, or if you just have something you disagree with or you need to get off your chest. You know, I willfully have those conversations. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And the board members are pretty easy to find as well. We're willing to talk and do whatever we need to do and answer any questions. And if we disagree at the end of that and you're willing to have a discussion with us, that's fine. But when we've got people making assumptions and not really digging into things, that's what bothers me. But I can assure you we're trying our best. Yes.
Your numbers you was reading about the tax increase of 19%.
For 19 cents.
Our taxes just went up pretty good last year for 2024. When you get the paperwork coming out, does your numbers include the increase that you will see coming in April?
From like other taxing entities or
Just regular taxes?
like from your township taxes and your,
You're down there at the courthouse, you got school, you got state, everybody gets a little bit of money.
I mean,
Is
those
your
aren't,
numbers included in that rate?
yes, I mean, yes.
The new rates we're paying now. It went up about $700.
Yeah, I had this conversation with someone a couple days ago, end of last week, and they shared the same sentiment. So it's not that I agree or disagree, but they were, you know, hey Trent, our taxes have gone up here, and
This is for 25.
yeah.
Anything else, Jake? Do you have a question?
Basically need to educate people because I'll be honest with you, I saw the Facebook post and was all upset, you know, my taxes are gonna go up, but I know years that our teachers only make $40,000 a year. I don't have a 4-year education, I mean, more than that, so what do we do to make sure that other homeowners are gonna vote yes?
We will put together a campaign platform. Some things will be put on our website. We'll have those 3 community meetings. To be honest, larger districts hire an outside firm to run a campaign referendum. We are not doing that. We're not spending that kind of money. So for us, it'll be us going door to door, speaking to people, answering questions. But those 3 community meetings will be similar to this and will be a good opportunity for people to ask questions, voice their opinion.
The same thing that you just did, the Facebook post that went viral because of the negativity. Share the positive. Share that you feel that the staff here is underpaid. Share the love that they send to your kids. Just share that. There's too much negativity going around about it. Just share the positive of it.
If you want to share on Wednesday, it's I Love Blue River Day, celebrating 60 years of Blue River. If you put a hashtag, you'll be entered for a prize. Hey, the pound sign, I love Blue River. Get on Facebook, check it out. It's on all of our Blue River schools things. Wear your Blue River pride that day. You don't even talk about the referendum. We just want to know who loves Blue River. It's been here 60 years. Let's celebrate something. So there's so many good things here. So it came really fast. I'll just put it that way. But I love Blue River Day is Wednesday, so enjoy it.
I have one question. It's crazy, believe me. Anybody knows me, it's crazy. With all the, I don't want to say alien foreigners that's coming into our country, do they have a setup for school systems to get money for addressing the children? Because I know factories do. There's a local factory that laid off all the Americans and kept all the Mexicans and all the other foreigners because they get money from the government. And there's a big tooth going on about it. I was just curious if the government had some kind of a setup for, you know, you guys to have excess to help with these children that's coming in, if you have any here.
Did I just hear you're running for president? To answer your question, no, I'm not aware of a program like that. I love talking about those kind of things, thinking outside the box. Maybe we need to sit down sometime. But no, as of now, nothing like that.
All right, we've been pretty casual tonight, which I've kind of enjoyed. Anybody have anything else before we adjourn?
I just have a question. Do you think raising the taxes will deter people from wanting to move here? Because that's public knowledge when you go buy a house. And we already are higher than the other school districts. So then that could affect enrollment. You know what I mean?
I mean, that's a fair point, and I don't know if you're familiar with a guy named Dr. Michael Hicks from Muncie. He actually wrote a column about small schools and some of the challenges we face, but I mean, I think that's a fair point, but I think we're, as a board, at a point we feel like we need to take that step and take that risk and hope that we can create an environment here that people want to come to and they're willing to pay a little higher tax rate to be close to Blue River schools and what we can offer. I guess that's the risk that we're going to take.
There was, did you send it out today, Mrs. Whaley? The email about, what's happening?
I did, about scheduling for next
Yeah,
year. Yeah.
scheduling
I
and
did.
all the opportunities that Blue River offers right now. You guys, it makes me jealous because I wish I was back in school so I could have some of these opportunities that kids have. I know we've talked about 4-year degrees, but there's so many things going on, but there's so much out there for every student. For yours that are the college bound, for yours that are going to just stay home and in this community and work. There are all kinds of things out there, and Blue River is opening up many doors. But those doors will be shut if we can't get some changes. But if you haven't seen that, did you post it to everybody?
No, but I can post it on social media. I sent it to all the students and parents.
Okay.
And
Well, that's what I meant. So parents.
But
so
I can post it on my Facebook page if you want.
Because there are so many opportunities for our students now that when we have meetings, we just sit like this. There's so much going on for our kids. So, sorry, Mrs. Whaley.
It's okay.
All right, last call. Anything else before we adjourn?
I'd like to say the reason this place is special is because of the people. Not just the people that are the teachers and the educators, but it's the history. The people that still live in this community and have lived here their entire lives. I moved a long ways. I moved 5 miles. My children are close by. They're not in this district. No, do I want my taxes to go up? No. But if we don't, and after you did read all that, how embarrassed I was that we're not doing a better job of supporting our educators. They are our future. And without our school, we don't have much left in our community. And without that, our kids are gonna be, when we talk about migrants, people moving in, that's where they're gonna be when they go to that next place, or we get gobbled up by somewhere else. There's something I like about Green Acres. It's a good place. And then, like Misha says, today the opportunities are far greater. And she wants to go back, I don't, I'm too old. But just think about it with your heart. Like Mr. Early said, how much money do we waste by going out to eat? By buying dogs that we don't need. So, you know, this is our future. So, I won't say that now. I love this place.
Well, I think that's a good note to adjourn on. I love this place. We all do. Thank you all for coming.